It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video. Listen now.
It's Movie Time. It's produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to broadcast shows Fridays at 4:01 and 8:01 p.m. Read reviews and listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm K G Kline.
and this is It's Movie Time. And boy, this is time for us to step up our game, because the name of this film is Eddington.
Eddington. There are movies that are easy to review, John, like Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon,
And Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And then there are movies that really challenge us, that take us to our top of our game and really make us think. And this is definitely one of them.
Well, I'll tell you, when you first proposed it to me, and before I really knew it was coming out, I was hooked immediately. Ari Aster is a weirdo that I love. And Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, what can't he act?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever he does a movie, you know this is going to be a top-notch performance.
Yeah.
He's very picky.
And Emma Stone, though she's not given much in this film.
She doesn't have that much to do. Pedro Pascal,
He's
great
not
performance,
given much.
but also not given all that much to do. But this is a movie that you go to because it's an Ari Aster movie,
Yes.
and you're a fan. Ari Aster is very much like the new David Lynch.
And I agree with you. Now, would you say there's a little bit of Wes Anderson thrown in
There's
here?
a little bit of Wes Anderson in the very stylized way, but both Ari Aster and David Lynch like to tell existential journeys that become more and more bizarre as the film progresses.
Yes.
You know, good examples of Lynch's ones are Inland Empire, which is 4 hours of my life that I'll never get back, and Mulholland Drive. But what makes Lynch and Aster different is that Aster keeps the story in the real world. Lynch, of course, loved aliens and magic and strange creatures all the way from Eraserhead right up to his last movie. His movies were full of them. But Aster will not do that. He keeps it real right up to the point when you start realizing it is so bizarre it can't possibly be real.
And Ari is telling a story that nobody else has dared to tell yet about COVID.
Yes, and 5 years in the making. This movie is set in May of 2020.
Right.
And he is at the height of COVID. The shutdown is in place. Mask wearing is mandatory. And in this little town of Eddington, New Mexico, population 2,500, a war is now raging between the people who want to follow the CDC's recommendations and the conservative folks who want to defy them because they just don't want to wear masks.
And although we have the character, the sheriff, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and although he's on one side, and the mayor, who is on, let me see, the liberal side.
The liberal side.
Right. So, but Phoenix plays it as if he's almost right in the middle. He obviously.
He is such an unstable character, and he's trying, as the sheriff, he's trying to follow the rules and trying to keep people to follow the masking rule. But then when a fellow walks into the grocery store and refuses to mask and gets kicked out, he goes in and buys all the groceries the guy wanted to buy and brings them out and gives them to him and says, here, you shouldn't be treated that way.
Yeah.
And this is just the first 15 minutes of the story, folks. This story degenerates very quickly. It's not just about COVID. Then it starts getting into the Floyd murder and the Black Lives Matter movement, and it picks up on almost every topical thing that was going on.
Which I think
in
is
May of 2020.
not necessarily in its favor.
I would agree. I'm very sensitive to things that are being used for entertainment or storytelling value that may be a little exploitational.
Yeah.
And I think getting into the Floyd murder that's a subject I don't think should have been touched upon.
And I'll tell you, one of the things that I really appreciate that Ari has done here, he has taken by the throat the technological advances that we have made, emblematic of the cell phones. Cell phones play a big part in this, and as a matter of fact, there's contention about a new a new technology that's going to move right into their territory, and that is computer related. And so, but every time our sheriff pulls out his phone, it almost looks like he's pulling out his gun.
Yeah.
And so I found that because I think I'm very sensitive to the fact of how much we rely now in contemporary movies on cell phones. And so I thought, well, Ari has done a good job of at least pointing it out to me, you know, how much even our sheriff and everybody else really abides by the dictates of the cell phone.
The cell phone and other technology.
Yeah.
And as this movie degenerates, and that's, I think, a good word for it, degenerates,
it is a great word.
It pulls in more and more topical subjects, but it never really addresses any of them. And that may be the actual point that Ari is going for here, is that these subjects are open to so many different interpretations that there is no right or wrong, in his view, is a complicated mess that can never be sorted out.
I often like to use my simplistic phrase, it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess of ideas. And I think one of the things that he does very well is to point out the difficulty of dealing with masks. When we were into it,
Yeah.
and when we should have our masks on and where was not an easy measure. And he does it very well.
He covers both sides of the situation, although again we gets off topic of that fairly quickly, and then gets into the Black Lives Matter movement. And at this point, the whole movie just spirals out of control. The life of the sheriff spirals out of control, right up to the point where he decides he's kind of the sheriff, played by Phoenix, is kind of a immature character. He's very sensitive. He's very reactionary, and he decides, because the mayor is siding with the masking, that he's going to run for mayor. He's going to jump into the race and oppose him on the masking grounds, but that lasts all of about 10 seconds before he starts opposing him on the Black Lives Matter, on other topical issues, and then he starts covering his car with all these conspiracy theories that he's running as a platform. And I just love, as the movie progresses, what's showing up on his car gets more bizarre every time you see it.
I love the moment when he's pulling away and the top
and the top gets knocked off by a tree branch.
And we never see it again.
Yeah, but the movie, about an hour in, takes a 90-degree turn that you need to brace yourself for, and it's about the moment when the mayor slaps the sheriff. Not just once, but twice.
Yes.
And then suddenly, the movie turns into a revenge film. And it gets more and more out of control with every passing moment, more and more violent, and you're just sitting there watching this train wreck unfold before you finally realize it has gotten so bizarre that Astor cannot be telling a truthful, real story.
Well, he's dipped into thriller territory, bizarre thriller.
He's dipped into David Lynch territory.
Yeah, he sure
without the tiny little laughing people and the magical device and the purse. He never goes into magic or aliens or any of that. He keeps it grounded. But at some point, you reach while you're watching this movie, you reach a point in your mind where you realize this is not factual. This is not real. This is a bizarre. This might even be a dream.
He also dips into the familial warfare that gets right down to family, and how divisive political stances are, or how divisive it is to either follow or not follow government dictates. I mean, it has
and
all
how easily things can get out of control.
Oh, yeah.
In this little town of 2,500 people,
Yeah.
he's got hundreds of school kids protesting Black Lives Matter in the streets.
Yes.
And his response, the response of Joaquin Phoenix's character, is anything but what you'd want a sheriff to do, because he is such an immature, he's not that smart, and he does almost everything wrong at every moment.
Yeah, and I think that Phoenix does a terrific job of showing somebody who is really mentally unstable.
Very unstable.
Yeah.
Very unstable. Watching his town spiraling out of control, watching his politics, watching his marriage to Emma. We haven't even mentioned Emma Stone's in this movie.
Yes.
Watching his marriage spiraling out of control, and all of it under very bizarre circumstances.
And then Ken, you got to admit, Austin Butler coming in
Yes.
as the savior. This is really good stuff. I mean, I don't know what the heck he's talking about.
Is a conspiracy theory evangelical,
Right.
yeah, who knows exactly what to say to get someone like Emma Stone's character, who is very easily manipulated, convinced that he is the word, that what he is saying is the answer, and then of course she runs off with him.
Yes, I know, I love it, and she's lost it. Now, so Ken, we're talking about Eddington, and I know that friends of mine who are cinephiles, and you especially, were looking forward to this film. I think it's a disappointment for me because I don't think it's going to draw, and I really have to be caught. I mean, the two of us are well, we're big fans of movies. We're being cautious here.
And I think you're absolutely right, John. I mean, his first film that came to my attention was Midsummer.
Yeah, and let's talk about that.
Yeah, and Midsummer was the film, of course, that brought Florence Pugh to our attention.
Yes.
But that movie was grounded in reality. It was a slow burn of a life getting out of control. And this movie is similar to this, to Midsummer, because it doesn't have the magical elements. But then his second film, Beau is Afraid, same thing, existential
Which I haven't
journey.
seen.
Beau is Afraid does have magical elements into it. So with this film, he's kind of going back to his roots, to a more Midsummer kind of movie, although this movie is so much more a train wreck than Midsummer ever was.
I think as you and I have been talking about it, it is for people like us. A great movie to see.
It is not a date night movie.
But it is not the kind
No.
that even our good friends and our fellow critics, we might be cautious about.
Yeah, it's a very elusive movie.
Yeah.
As you're watching it, it's very hard to understand where it's going and what it's saying at any given moment.
All right, K G Kline, what do you recommend about Eddington?
If you're a fan of David Lynch, if you're a fan of Ari Aster, of course you're going to see this movie. It's exactly what.
And throw in Wes Anderson.
And throw in Wes
Like
Anderson. And this is the kind of movie that people who enjoy Anderson
Yes.
and Lynch and Aster will enjoy. Is it Aster's best movie? No. Is it confusing? Is it elusive? Yes. Will you find something to take away from it? Yes. But as an ordinary date night movie, oh no, avoid.
And let me throw in, proves to me again that Joaquin Phoenix is one of the great actors.
He is.
With John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better.